Okay, so these problems are tough, I know, so let's just take it one step at a time here. The problems are asking for acute angles, so this is our initial side. If somebody says draw an angle terminal with 150 degrees, that means we rotate counterclockwise. 90, here's 150, that's where the 150 degree angle terminates right here. Okay. So an acute angle means it's somewhere between 90 and 0 degrees. So we know we're going to draw some sort of angle this way. And then to figure out trig values, the convention is always to make a right angle with the x-axis. And it's a hypotenuse of 1. That's just another convention. You don't necessarily have to do it this way, but that way we can just all stick to these known trig values and these special triangles. Okay, and yeah, now's a good time to bring up these special triangles. If you memorize these triangle values, you'll be able to do the rest of the trig functions without a calculator. Okay, so to find out, like let's say, here, I'll just give you the triangles. If you have a hypotenuse of 1, then an angle of 60 would have a square root of 3 over 2 corresponding in the opposite side. If you have an angle of 30, then the opposite side would be 1/2. So those are just values that we memorize to help us answer these trig questions. And the other special triangle to memorize would be easier. If you have a 45-degree angle, then the other angle has to be 45. That way the angles add up to 180. So that means you've got square root of 2 over 2 for one side, square root of 2 over 2 for the other side. Okay. So for this question, we have to have a square root of 3 somehow. So this one's not going to help us at all because this only has square root of 2 to offer us. So it's got to be this triangle. And we need to figure out what this angle is so that the tangent ratio, so that the opposite over the adjacent equals 1 over square root of 3. And so here it's just one of two things, right? Either this is going to be 60 degrees, and that would make this be square root of 3 over 2. And so that means the adjacent side would have to be the other side length that's not the hypotenuse, 1/2. And if we're right, we should be able to take the opposite of angle theta and divide by the adjacent of angle theta. And if you do that arithmetic, square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, you would flip and multiply and you get square root of 3. So that's not quite right. That's not the same thing. So the first guess was wrong. That means the only other option is for this angle to be, got to delete all that. This has to be 30. Okay, it had to be one of those two. I guessed 60, turned out to be wrong. When I did the opposite over the adjacent, it didn't work out. Okay, but now if I do 30 for this reference angle, then this would be 1/2 and this would be square root of 3 over 2. And now when we do the opposite, divide by the adjacent, which is what tangent tells us to do, the opposite of theta divide by the adjacent, we'd flip and multiply that second fraction. And there we go. That's what we wanted. So we did a little guessing. We found out that theta has to be 30 degrees. And then you could use your methods for converting that to radians. Divide by 180 and stick a pi on there. So that should be pi over 6.